Hi everyone, this is Matthew Sweeney. I'm going to shoot. Hi everyone, this is Matthew Sweeney. I'm going to talk about Json tonight. So Json stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a way to notate and store objects within your program. So there's two main kind of functions with JSON that we need to know. And those are stringify and parse, and they work to both convert information to a JSON object and then convert JSON objects to normal JavaScript objects. So I have some information here, some code here that's I'm going to use to illustrate what I'm talking about. And then I have some functions that will work with those two functions that I mentioned. So the information I have here, the first one is just a variable, and it just has a huge string here. It actually goes all the way over here. So the thing with JSON and the stringify function is that it takes as a parameter just a string and converts it into JSON objects. So that's why it's just one giant string here, and you can kind of see it looks a little bit like JSON notation here. So you can see this would be one object there. There's another object here, and within that you have different key value pairs here. So here's the name, and then this is the name value right here. So, and then we have founded and another value there. So this is actually just a little giant list of things. You could break it out on different lines, but I just had it on one giant line there. And then we have a couple objects, just regular JavaScript ones that I'm going to transform into JSON notation here. So we're just starting with a normal object here, and I haven't really done anything fancy with it, but we just have a couple like properties of that object here. Name, type, a number, just random information for this object. And then I have just another JavaScript array here. So just a list of candies here in the candies array. And then, so here's the main functions down here, and this is the more important part here. So the first one, I'm going to show you a couple with the stringify. And again, this is taking information and turning it into a JSON format. So here's the function right here, and we're taking in just some text. Like I said, it works on strings. So that's why we're taking this whole huge long thing here. And here's the kind of syntax for it. You have a variable, this, the JSON.stringify, and then we have the one mandatory parameter would be just the string. And then I'm just going to print it out here. So nothing really that interesting there, but you'll see how it works when I show you. The second one actually is a little bit fancier, and this one actually takes some optional parameters. So we have again right here, highlighting right here the first line, JSON.stringify, and we can have the mandatory string. And then the second one is just if you want to call a transforming like function, you can do that there. So it'll just store it in some other format besides what it is, and just kind of saves time. And this one right here actually just has to do with formatting the output. But you'll see, so I have the upper one called here, and upper is actually a function down here that's just going to take all of the input and then just turn it into capitalized. information. So again, taking it and putting it in the output to the screen. The third function here is the convert to the JavaScript object. So this is going to take as its input, and then this is the parse function here, which is another JSON function. So this is going to take a JavaScript object in this case. Hello, this is Matthew Sweeney. I'm going to talk about JSON. So JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation, and it's basically just a way to easily store information in a format that's easy to transport and use in a different way. So it's usually used with other things. You use it a lot actually with Ajax and with local storage, but I'm going to try to kind of isolate it so we can kind of get a better grasp of it just by itself. So the thing with JSON is that it stores information in kind of key value pairs. So that's what we have here. I have a few variables at the top that are just going to be used for showing the functions that are the main functions with JSON. And those functions are going to be the stringify and the parse functions. And those are going to transform information from like a normal JavaScript format to a JSON format, and then back from the JSON format to a JavaScript format. So we have up here just a huge long string, which if you just look at it, you can see that it actually has the keys and value pairs. We have like a name, and then the name of something, and then founded would be another value, and then or another key, and then we have the value there. And then location, another value. So this is actually just a set of objects here that is just presented in one giant string, because that's the way JSON information is stored as a string. And then we have a couple objects here that I'm going to be doing information on. So here's just one object that just has some values here that really the information itself is not that important. Just that it's an object is more important. And we have an array here of just some other information that I'm going to transform these into JSON format and then display them. So the main thing I wanted to show you was the two functions that are mostly used with JSON, and those are the stringify and the parse functions. So the first two are going to show some stringify, how that works. So the first one here takes as the input parameter that just some information, and then stringify is the thing that turns that information into a JSON notation. So it's working on the mandatory parameter here of just the information, and then this function will just display it to the screen. Doesn't really do anything with it important. Normally you could send it to someplace else. You could store it somewhere. I mean, you could do a lot of different things with it. Here I'm just printing it out to the screen so I can show mainly the function that operates on the information. The second function does the same thing, but it actually uses some fancier parameters here. Most notably, this optional parameter here where you can include a function, and this will take the information that you have in their mandatory parameter and then perform some function on it. And the function I have here is just actually just a function here to convert it to just all uppercase. So you can do a lot of different functions there, and that'll just kind of do a little processing on the information before it's converted to JSON. And the third one is the third function where I have here actually takes the JSON stored information and converts it back into a JavaScript object. So that's what this function is here, the parse function. And that's going to take companies, which was our huge long string at the top, and then turns it back into a JavaScript object here. And then this part will just cycle through that using a for loop. It'll just go through that that new object that's created from the JSON information, and then again just put it out to the screen. And again, you could do a lot of different things with that, but that's all I'm going to do right now, just so I can show how the parse function works. And then we have the buttons down here that just kind of control the functions that trigger them. So let's show you how that kind of works. I'm going to go to my page here. It doesn't really look like much, but this is it. So this is going to convert to JSON the first bit of information, and you can see it kind of looks like how our string did at the beginning. You have your name, and then there's a name here, and then your type, chocolate number, and then just some random numbers here. And if we go back to our code, that's turning this information into JSON format. So it looks like a big, well, it's a string, but it's stored as value pairs there. So we can also convert it with parameters, and this is going to take our arrays here, and it's going to turn it into, it's going to capitalize them and then turn it into a JSON format. So that's why it's a string, because it's all just array. It's actually just one, whereas this would be several different key values. This is just one thing, so it's just going to be a huge long string, but it's all capital because we use that function there. And this one's going to convert to JavaScript, to convert back to a JavaScript object, the things up here, and this is going to convert it into an array of objects. So it'll have 3 objects, 1, 2, and then 3. But it'll only print out, and we go down here, we can see it'll only print out the name and the location. So we're actually leaving out the founded part of it. So go back to our thing. There it is. So it's just cycling through and then looking for Big Top Candy Shop, then the location. So that's kind of a way, it's interesting, and you kind of have to keep track of arrays, which is always a little bit of a challenge at first, but it's a neat way to convert information and then store it and do interesting things with it. But I just kind of wanted to demonstrate the parse and the stringify functions separate from Ajax and from local storage, which is kind of how they get tied up a lot of times. All right, thanks.